Hello and welcome to the channel. I wanted to talk to you today about this Kenwood graphic equalizer. It's a model KGC4042, and the problem I'm having with it is that the little sliders in here, all graphic equalizers use these, when you would slide them to make adjustments, it would make noise like in the speakers, or they didn't really work at all. And there's even little lights in the end that so you could see it at night. And when you would move the little slider, sometimes the light would flash, and it's generally just old. It's functions, but it's probably 25 or more years old. And so I suspect it's just kind of dirty inside there. And so we're going to take it over to the bench. We're going to take it apart. We're going to clean it up, and we're going to fix it or not. Okay, here we are back at the bench. Let's get this torn apart now. Already taken 2 of the screws out of it. Sorry I didn't take y'all along for that. Okay, now remove the top here and let's see what we got inside. Looks pretty clean. So we'll go ahead and take these 2 screws out here that attach the faceplate. Okay, there we go. Oh, look at that. Looks like we have 2 different kinds of screws, one with self-tapping threads and one with like machine threads. So we'll have to make sure we get those back in the correct hole when it comes time to put this back together. Okay, let's see here. We just kind of pull this up and out. Then we've got our wires connecting all this to the main circuit board. Looks like they're all right in order, so they should just be real easy to plug right back in. Looks like there's 5 of them. So we'll carefully unplug these. Okay. Now, set that aside. Let's go ahead and spray just a little bit of contact cleaner in these switches here. Anywhere where there's a little hole in it, you can just spray a little bit in there. There we go. That looks like a little bit of an opening right there. And then we'll even go put a little bit, see if we can shoot some down here through the shaft. Okay. Now we just kind of work them a few times. That'll work its way in there. Sometimes if you turn it upside down, let the stuff kind of run down in there. That'll clean any oxidation or oil or grease or dirt or whatever off of the contacts down inside that switch. And these should work really good after this. Okay, that's probably good enough. Now comes probably the most difficult part of this whole deal, is to get these little ears pried up just a little bit so that we can get the circuit board out of there. Now, let's use these pliers right here. Instead of squeezing with them, we're going to kind of pry apart so that we can kind of spread these out a little bit and get this. Hope you can kind of see what I'm doing here. See if I can tilt it this way where you can kind of see what I'm doing. See, I'm going to kind of spread these apart. Got to get a finger or something under there to kind of pry up. And the whole trick is to not break the plastic as you're doing this. Or of course, damage the circuit board. Okay, so let's try it somewhere where I can kind of get my finger up under there and pry a little bit. Get my pliers arranged in my hand here. Oh, we're close. Close on that one up there. Okay, looks like that one is pretty much loose. whole trick is to not break that little ear right there. So let's move over to this one, see if we can just use our fingers. Ah, yes. Now let's try that again. See, that one's still kind of in there, so we're gonna gently, ah, yes. Okay. Now, down inside here, these are like the little potentiometers, so we're just going to spray a little bit of contact cleaner in each one of these. Just a little bit is all it's going to take. Okay. Now we just move these back and forth, and it kind of cleans it up. It's easier to do 2 at a time. Now, let's give this a little shot of air to kind of blow the excess chemical out of there. Okay. Now, that appears, I don't know if you can see it or not. Let me see if I can get the light on it just right. If you can look down in there, it looks pretty clean. You can see the little contacts in there on the circuit board. Okay, so we look good to go there. That was really the only problem with this thing. So let's go ahead and set this down for a moment, and I'm gonna go clean this and the cabinet and these little sliders and the knobs and things on this, so that when we put it all back together, it's nice and clean. And it looks, you know, it looks like he did something. It's going to give it sort of a, well, after this, I would call this refurbished. So we're going to go clean this, and I'll be right back. Okay, we got the faceplate cleaned up and the little plastic slider handles, and we also cleaned up the cabinet as best we could. And we've got our switches with the contact cleaner. Now, the last thing to do is kind of clean up this knob and these 2 switches a little bit. That'll just take a second. We're just gonna put a little bit of glass cleaner on this toothbrush here. There. Just a little bit, and then we're gonna kind of scrub this here knob just a little bit. You can see I'm kind of just scrubbing out all the grime. It's pretty easy to do. The whole thing to remember is don't get any of this liquid inside the thing, only on this. All right, now that's done, so let's kind of wipe that off a little bit. There. Looks pretty good. That's the fader control, by the way. Now, we'll do the same thing to these little buttons over here. Just gently, gently. We'll mostly let the cleaner itself do the work for us. Again, try to keep it out of the inside of the thing. Okay. Now we'll wipe those off just a little bit. Go. Now, time for reassembly, it looks like. So the first thing we want to do is install this faceplate with our sliders in it, making sure that we get them in the right position. This is the subwoofer control down here. This is our subwoofer control down here, so it'll fit like this. That looks nice. Now we're gonna attempt to get this to snap back together. Give it just a little start with a fingernail here. Get that in started. Same thing over here, hook a fingernail into that. Okay, now it should pretty much just snap together, just like that. Now we got our sliders in there. Well, they're awfully hard to slide. There might be a need for a little bit of lubricant in there, maybe. That would mean we got to disassemble it again. So let's go ahead and do that and see if we can get this apart one more time without breaking it. Okay, there's that end started. There's that end. Okay, we got it apart. Now, and there we go. Now that's disassembled again. Now I think what we need to do is try to introduce a little bit of lubricant right in those little slots. So let's give that a try. I had a little, there we go. And I got some spray lube right here. I'm gonna spray a little bit of this on there, over here over the trash can. Okay, we're back. Now we're gonna just ever so slightly kind of just a little bit on there. It doesn't take much at all. In fact, we're going to get off a little bit of the excess. There. Now, oh yeah, made all the difference in the world. There. Now, we'll wipe off any more excess. Just, there we go. Pretty clean looking. That made all the difference in the world. Okay, now let's put this back together again. Make sure we do it correctly. It goes this way. These have detents. These two on the end don't. That's how I can tell which way it goes. Okay. Now, same thing as before. Get it all lined up. Kind of hook a fingernail under there and get it started. Same thing over here. Okay, we got it started. Now she's all snapped back together. Now let's see. They're still a little stiff. Uh-oh, maybe that was a knot. I sure hope not. That doesn't feel good. Uh-oh. We may have blown ourselves up here. I sure hope not. We were looking for a fix-it. Let's see if we can find out what went wrong here. Let's get these out of the way so we can get this back apart. Okay, almost. There we go. Now, one of these felt like it got kind of loose on me. Well, it seems to still function. Did it break? No, I think it just... It's definitely weak. So we'll go ahead and set these about where I think they need to be, and we'll probably leave them alone. Probably something about like that. Okay. Now, let's reassemble, hopefully for the last time. Now, we got that all in there. Let's double check to make sure it looks right. Yes, it looks right. So, repeat the same thing. Get a fingernail under there. Get it kind of started. Same thing over here. Get it kind of started. Up under there. Okay, there went that one. Well, fingernail under there. Okay, I think we're started. Yeah, we are. There we go. Now. Okay, I think that's going to work. So, now we can go ahead and reassemble this thing. It's all cleaned up. I think it's going to work just fine. Now we'll plug each of these in order. It's pretty easy to do. Just got to make sure they're plugged all the way in. Remember, they were in order. I even wrote the numbers on them. If you can see that, that's a number 2. And that's a number 2 that I wrote on the connector, just to be sure. It's always a good idea to mark things. Maybe even take a picture if you want to. Now, let's see if we can plug the rest of these in. That's number 3 should be, yes, it says number 3 on it. Okay. Number 4. And number 5. Okay, that all seems to be good to go. Now we just kind of put this back in its original place. Okay. Now, this side, I believe, one moment. That's like the self-tapping screw, if you can see that. I believe that goes on this side. So to make sure, we're going to put it in the hole and we're going to turn it a little backwards and look. Did you hear that? That means it's fallen down into the original threads. So we'll just go ahead and snug that up just a little bit. We'll get our other screw, which has the machine screw on the threads, or machine threads. And this one is just going to thread right in there, just like it's supposed to. Just want to be careful not to over tighten any of these things. Just has to be snug. Okay, there's that. All looks good. No extra pieces. Now, put that down on there. Then we'll reassemble the last 4 screws. There's 1. Oops. Sometimes these are difficult to start, but these seem to line up well. It's a pretty well-made unit, so everything lines up really good. And like I said earlier, it's about 25 years old, and I've been using it. I've had it probably in 4 or 5 different vehicles over the years. It served me well. If you know anything about car audio. I'm not an expert or anything like that, but I enjoy good music and good sound. So I have this to make it sound the way I want it to sound. Okay. There's the last screw. And it looks nice and new. It's kind of shiny. It's all clean. All right, now the next thing is we'll go take it out to the truck and see if it works. Well, here we have it installed in the truck, and it seems to be working. It's playing right now. Switches work. If you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe and hit that like button for me. There'll be more to follow. Thank you for watching.